So Skull and Bones final beta has wrapped up, and I think Ubisoft has a situation on its hands, and it's not a situation that they will hate. Skull and Bones has been through a lot. It's been in development hell for 10 years, it's been cancelled midway through and redesigned multiple times. It originally was supposed to be a game that took all the best elements of Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 3's naval combat and mechanics and be its own thing separate from Assassin's Creed. Then it was a naval warfare game version of For Honor. Then at some point, Ubisoft wanted to be more like Fortnite. To be exact, the game was supposed to become, a game that's a cross between Fortnite and Sea of Thieves. Now it's pretty much a live server Sea of Thieves with photorealistic visuals and no ground combat. The reception for Skull and Bones is like a coin flip. When it comes to whether someone will like it or not, it's 50-50. I think the open beta actually did good for Ubisoft because more than before, people are talking about the game positively and enjoying it. I've seen a few streamers, including Mika and Annie and some others, seemingly really enjoy the beta. I have a friend who showed no interest in Skull and Bones. He played the open beta every day and seems to be interested in it out of nowhere, and I'm sure he's going to buy it. One of his friends also had no interest in Skull and Bones, but after the beta is now interested in getting it. Now, I've also seen the negative feedback from people like Luke Stevens and Asmongold. Like I said before, this game right now is a coin flip, especially after the beta. It's a coin flip on whether people will or like it. If you ask 10 people what their opinions are on Skull and Bones, 5 will say they liked it and 5 will say it's awful. But again, this is good for Ubisoft because I think the unit sold will be higher now after the success of the open beta. So what did I think of the beta? I've been talking about everyone else's opinion of the beta, but not my own opinions of the game's beta. Well, I don't think Skull and Bones is an awful game. I don't think the beta was bad. I think it had moments that were really good. The naval combat is exactly what you expect it to be. It's not that different from Assassin's Creed titles. I'd say it's more like Odyssey's naval combat than Black Flag, but it does have some wonky mechanics. The boarding process is wonky. Sometimes you'll be sitting there, throwing rope randomly until the animation for the boarding plays out. Which the fact that you don't even get to fight on the opposing boat sucks. Animation plays very, very quickly, like not even like 2 seconds long of your crew boarding the other boat, and that's it. This lack of hand-to-hand combat in Skull and Bones is his biggest flaw. It's crazy that the game doesn't have it. It wouldn't take away from the naval warfare at all. So I don't see why Ubisoft just doesn't have it in the game. The naval warfare is the core gameplay of the game, so it wouldn't be affected. But by not having ground combat, hand-to-hand combat, it limits what the game can be, and it limits the way the player can enjoy the game. You have a good chance to have a successful pirate game if you let it be a pirate game fully. Not everyone wants to play Sea of Thieves, be it they don't like the visuals, they don't find the gameplay loop fun, or they don't like the lack of a character creator, which the latter for Skull and Bones isn't great, but at least it has one. Ubisoft has had an easy layup with Skull and Bones, but instead of taking the layup, they're trying to shoot a step back 3 from the logo. But Ubisoft isn't Steph Curry. The lack of hand-to-hand combat doesn't have to be non-existent. Ubisoft could pull Bethesda and update the game at a later date to add swords and pistol combat and interactions on land to do it, and as well add the ability to have sword fights when you do a boarding process for naval combat. Now with Bethesda, them updating Fallout 76 to add NPCs is less work than adding an entire combat option, but I'm sure it can be done. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if that's already planned. This is a live service game. It will likely have seasons. Wouldn't surprise me if season 3 they add hand-to-hand combat. In terms of performance, the game up until Sunday when the beta ended ran very, very well. I didn't have any issues, and then Sunday started getting some lag, started getting some game crashes, but that's about it. So what about the rest of the game? Well, the story is pretty much non-existent. This is a generic live service game. Story is background information with no substance. You talk to NPCs who tell you where to go. If it's a main quest, NPCs you come back to turn the quest in and get told where to go next. If it's a side quest, you can turn it in at any faction post for whatever that side quest was. When you aren't in naval battles, you spend most of your time harvesting, mining, and selling. Go cut some trees down from your boat, not on the ground, because again, there is no ground combat. You do everything from your boat. Mine some iron from your boat, not the ground. You don't even dig for treasure in this game. You just wave your hand over the dirt and a chest pops up. But when you're in combat, when you're just sailing, It's a chill and enjoyable game. I did find myself not wanting to do anything but play the beta, and I'm not even into pirates like that. How does it compare to Sea of Thieves? Well, outside of playing Sea of Thieves for like an hour or two with an X, I don't have much experience with Sea of Thieves, so I can't say too much, to go into detail between, comparison between these two. I do enjoy ship controls more in Skull and Bones. I've heard the visuals of Skull and Bones, but I can't say much else. How does it compare with Black Flag? Well, that's the easier thing to compare to. You can see the naval warfare isn't all that different. Even the UI for firing is the same. The biggest difference is the lack of boarding combat. You board in Black Flag, you fight the crew. Hell, if you board in Odyssey and Valhalla, you not only fight the crew, but there's also a chest you can loot as well. Again, to incentivize you going ahead and boarding a ship instead of just destroying it. But when it comes to naval combat warfare on its own, it can't stand with all AC games that have naval combat. Skull and Bones' biggest flaw is just what's missing. That lack of ground combat. When you plunder, you don't go onto the outposts and forts and fight like you would in, say, a raid in Valhalla. You sit in your ship, you shoot some towers, you fight some boats, and that's it. As much as I've enjoyed the naval warfare and just sailing around, because it is fun to just go on these long sails, because this game will have you go on very, very long like travels, I don't see myself buying Skull and Bones unless they add ground combat. Swords, pistols, bows, melee. Pistols are already in the game, but you don't use them. You sell them. But that's my thoughts on the Skull and Bones beta. I wasn't originally going to do a video about the beta, but I was, asked on my Twitch stream if I would. Which, by the way, follow me on Twitch. I'm a very chatty streamer, very attentive to chat. Link will be below if you want to follow me over on Twitch. We do variety content, so you'll see variety of different games. When it comes to Skull and Bones, I just think that Ubisoft has an easy chance to have a successful pirate game if they just get out of their own way and stop being tone deaf. See what the players are looking for, see what the players want, see what they enjoy, and go from there. Why does your game lack what it lacks? It doesn't need to lack those things. By having ground combat, hand-to-hand combat, and sword fighting, it doesn't make the game Assassin's Creed. It still can just be a Pirates game without Assassin's Creed if that's the goal. So Skull and Bones has an opportunity. Your beta, like I said, the numbers for beta are probably looking good for Ubisoft. I don't know if their pre-orders increased, but I'd imagine their units sold will increase by the end of the month, because the game comes out on the 16th, and I'm sure it'll increase over time. Personally, I see this game being dead on arrival, and that's what I was thinking before the beta. But that might have changed just via the success that I was having during people's live streams and new players who have decided to actually get into the game. So it could become a success, and that success at launch could lead to them making the changes that I think they should make, which is, again, you're gonna hear everyone say it: add ground combat. Add more customization as well, because even though the customization isn't awful, I do think they should add more customization, and also don't make the game so grindy. When it comes to upgrading your ship, it is very, very grindy experience. Either you spend a lot of money on just buying resources from outposts, or you're going to be sitting here cutting on a lot of trees and looking for a lot of iron and uncut this and uncut that. Like, there's just so much to do in terms of having to upgrade your ship and upgrade. You got to go find blueprints, and not every blacksmith sells the same blueprint, so you might have to travel from one major outpost to another major outpost just to get blueprints, so you can then go ahead and grind to unlock the resources to make whatever that blueprint was for you to make. It's a lot, and again, that can take away from fun of the game. But that's it for me in this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Stay safe, be kind to one another, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I've been your boy, Anubis Gamer Archer. I'm out of here. I'll see you when I see you. Deuces.